Yes, and the U.S. Coast Guard today holding a special ceremony earlier to decommission one of their own. This was a scene at the Coast Guard's harbor facility near the port of Corpus Christi as some of the Coast Guard's top brass gathered to retire their cutter Manta. Officials with the Coast Guard say the 87-foot patrol boat's primary mission had been search and rescue efforts.
Over the 20-year history of the ship, there's been countless search and rescue cases that have been conducted. We've responded to more than a few here, and they've been great coordinating with Sentinel Corpus Christi and accomplishing those missions.
It was originally commissioned into the service in 2000 and has serviced for 21 years. The patrol boat will be replaced by a 154-foot Sentinel Class Cutter, also known as Fast Response Cutter.